And then rest your hands down right up at your hip creases and give a little push and a little movement through the hips, giving yourself that chance to start to tune into your connection with the ground. And then lift up through your sides, shoulders up and back. Take a moment for some ear to shoulder action with your head and your neck. And then as you come back into center now, bring hands to connect at heart center and let your eyes close. Take a couple deep breaths and let yourself sit even taller. Use your breath to help you become more settled in this place. On your next exhale, bow toward your heart. Then softly opening your eyes, release your hands down, and again, lift your shoulders up and back. Lengthen the back of your neck. And let's take gratitude arms here. So elbows hug in by your sides, your palms are lifted, and then find that rotation so you have that expansion through the front. And then move up and down with shoulder blades. Just that little bit of check-in with the upper back and with the front of you through the heart space. And then bring fingertips to connect in front of you. Elbows lift up to about shoulder height. And as you push fingertips, take a big exhale and draw low ribs in, expanding into the upper back. Draw chin into your chest and then add movement here side to side through your shoulders. Then inhale, sit tall, release your arms down, give your shoulders some rolls back. And then one more thing for our shoulders. Reach arms out to the side, reach through fingertips, palms are down. Draw shoulder blades onto your back and then take those little circles backwards. As you make little circles backwards, as you get fatigued, then the circles get bigger. So see if you can control the circles. Lengthen the back of your neck. Then turn your palms forward. Again, plug in with your shoulder blades and little circles backwards. And take a couple big breaths, recognizing whatever heat is being felt, where it is, aside from just the heat of the day. And then palms up, plug in with shoulder blades. And again, one more time, little circles backwards. Take some big deep breaths. Then release your arms down, give your shoulders some rolls back. And then switch the cross of your legs, coming to the less comfortable cross for yourself. Shift your sitting bones. And then press again into your upper thighs, right up at your hip creases, and add that movement here through your hips. Then come back into center and bring left fingertips to the floor beside your hip. Take your right hand to the back of your head and press your head back into your hand. Draw your shoulder blade onto your back, and then as you work your fingertips out on the left side, think of lifting your elbow up. Take a big deep breath, put both shoulder blades on your back, reach a little longer, think sitting bone pressing down on the right side, right elbow lifting. One more big breath. Then inhale back up to center, and right fingertips right beside your hip. Left hand to the back of your head. Send your head back into your hand and open your left elbow up. Shoulder blade on your back, and then you're working out as far as your body needs to go to keep rooted through your left sitting bone. Lift through your elbow. Lift your elbow toward the ceiling, expanding into your left side. Take a big deep breath. Inhale back up to center, hands work out to your knees, and then move a couple times, just 2 rounds of cat and cow. Inhale, belly and heart forward. Exhale, press your spine back. Then inhale, sit tall, and we're going to shift forward onto hands and knees. And from hands and knees, let's take a moment to settle the hips back toward your heels into your child's pose, and let your head rest down. Let your hips shift and your arms move a little bit to find a little bit more length. Then inhale, lift up onto your hands and knees. And as you reach back with your right leg, reach through your heel, lifting your leg up, tone your belly, and turn open with your hip. Now bend your knee and press your right heel toward the left side. Big, deep breath. And now big, wide circles with your knee. And as you make those circles with your knee, just notice not just the movement of your femur bone and your hip socket, but maybe that lift of the hip up. Switch directions with those circles. And now step right foot forward in between your hands. Back toes tuck under if that's in your practice, and then work your back knee back as far as you need so you have a little more thigh stretch. Center with your hips, extend longer with your heart. Take a full big breath here. And then gently step back, hands and knees, pause, set yourself up, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And then as you root down through palms and fingertips, rotate elbow pits forward and push. Inhale, extend back with your left leg. Turn open with your hip, bend your knee and push your heel toward the right side. Toning your low belly, take a full big breath. And then start those circles with your knee. Big, wide open circles. And then switch directions with your circles. And now step left foot forward in between your hands. And again, you can always have blocks if you want. Back toes tuck under, and then work your back knee back as far as you need. Extend with your heart. Sides are long. Take a full deep breath. And then step back to hands and knees, and from hands and knees, again, pause and set yourself up, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, toes tucked under here. And now we're going to give a little stretch through the bottoms of our feet, and you get to decide how far this is for you. So we're going to walk our hands back, hips starting to come toward our heels, and notice the sensations. You might find that you can sit your hips all the way back and sit up, or you might need to stay with hands at the ground. So find where that is for you and take a full breath. Wherever you are, if it feels okay, you're going to reach back with one hand at a time and give a little massage through the bottom of your feet. And then switch to the other foot. And then come back to hands and knees, and now we'll do a little bit of stretch through the back sides of our legs. So reach back with your right leg, toes tucked under behind you, and do a little pulsing here. And as you pulse forward and back, think of that length through the calf. Notice the hamstrings even. Sometimes this is more of a sensation through the calf, but it's also a hamstring lengthening. So now push with your heel and lift up a little ways with your right hip. So you're getting a little longer through your right side. Think of from hip to armpit on the right, getting longer. And then release your knee back to the ground and stretch back with your left leg. And again, pulse. And as you find that pulse, just notice for yourself if you have more sensation or different sensation on this side. And then keep pressing back and lift up with your left hip. Think of distance between your left hip and your left armpit. And then set both knees back down. Big toes together, knees wide if that's comfortable, setting tops of feet on the ground, and then settle hips to heels. Take a child's pose. Two more big breaths. And then gently push yourself all the way up to your seat. And we're going to come down onto sitting bones now. And from sitting bones, you can always be sitting up on something here if you would like to. And you can always give yourself something to put your foot on. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of foot love. So first, find where it is that you would like to set your foot. It can always be on your leg if that's more comfortable. And then flex your foot so then the Achilles tendon is a little bit stretched. And now take your fingers on either hand and you're going to use your fingers up and down the Achilles tendon, just massaging on either side of it. And as you think of this, think of it as from the heel up into the calf. And now point your foot, and then with that point, we're now going to take our hands to the front part of our foot. You're going to have both hands coming to the top, or fingertips to the top of the foot, thumb on the bottom of the foot, pressing into the transverse arch where all your toes connect. It's almost like you're trying to break the front of your foot in half, but don't break your foot in half. That's not a good thing to do. So as you do this, think of letting your fingers pull apart across the top of your foot. And now we're going to weave our left fingers into our right toes. If you have tight feet like mine, then weaving fingers in is sometimes a challenge unto itself. So now from there, move your toes with your hand. Move them forward and back. You can move them a little bit up and down. And then move your hand with your toes. I always have to put my fingers back in my toes. And think of moving them with your toes in those same directions you moved your toes with your fingers. Okay, so now go ahead and take your fingers out. And now I want you to think of your big toe and the mound of it and all the way down into the arch. So there's a lot of connection there for your big toe. And we're going to take our thumbs to massage up into the big toe mound. And as you massage up into the big toe mound, you're going to go up and down, and you can even go up over the big toe mound, and then down all the way almost to the heel. You also get to discover how much your feet need to be washed because you've been walking around outside barefoot. Okay, second side. All right, so now left foot goes up on top of the block or on top of your leg here. Flex your foot and then take whichever hand you want to run up and down the Achilles tendon. And now to the front of your foot, you can give your foot up more of a point here, or really whatever feels natural, but then fingers on the top of your foot, thumb into the transverse arch, and you're going to push in with your thumbs and pull out and down with your fingers, out and back. Who knows what that direction is? Okay, so now weaving your right fingers into your left toes. For me, this is an opportunity to discover which foot is tighter. You might find that you can put your fingers in your toes, no problem. So now with your hand, think about forward and back through the toes and up and down through the toes. And just notice if you have some sensation, then maybe you're making those movements a little bit slower, a little smaller, but move back and forth between those two movements, up and down, forward and back. And now, big toe mound all the way into the inside of your arch toward your heel. We're going to use thumbs and think of sides of thumbs, not digging your thumbs in, but sides of thumbs to rub up and down, all the way up over the big toe mound, all the way toward your heel. Okay. And now go ahead and release both legs out in front of you. And you can always sit up on something here again, but with your hands pressing down or fingertips pressing down beside your hips, lift your ribs and your heart. And then do a little bit of flex and point. And then circle. And circle the other way. Good. And now walk your feet in. And we're going to take our feet up as wide as our mats. And then hands to come to rest behind you. And drop your knees side to side here, coming into this slightly elevated version of our windshield wipers. Both knees to the right, both knees to the left. One more time on each side. And then back into center. And now soles of feet come together into your butterfly. And you're welcome to add that propping of your blanket. Roll it up over your feet and underneath your legs if you would like to. Or just soles of feet together. Either way, inch your feet a little closer together. And then pull your toes back. And then as you pull your toes back, sit taller. And then release your toes and press your toes together. And as you press your toes together with a long spine, if it feels comfortable, you can always walk your hands forward, taking a forward fold. You could always set hands or elbows up on a prop in front of you. But as you press toes, also try to press your heels and then reach out through your thighs toward the walls on either side of you. Take a big, deep breath. And then gently push yourself all the way back up to your tall spine. Knees lift. And as you lay all the way down onto your back, hug your knees in close, rock side to side. And then I'm going to give you a choice. We're going to lift our legs up toward the ceiling in kind of the legs up the wall type variation. You can have your hips up on something here, or you can have your hips on the ground to lift your legs. So if you want to set something underneath your hips, then put your feet on the ground, lift your hips up, slip your prop underneath to where your sacrum is comfortable, and then lift your knees into your chest, and then legs lift. Take a big breath wherever that is for you. And as you have your legs lifted, this is an opportunity for your lymph nodes to get a little rinsing. That opposite direction for your body to be. And now point your feet so your toes are lifted, and then flex your feet so your heels are trying to lift. Point and flex. A couple more times, pointing and flexing. One more. Point and flex. And then circle both feet in the same direction. And then switch directions. And then back into center. And then bend your knees and set footprints on the ground. And if you have a prop underneath your hips, go ahead and lift your hips. Take the prop out from underneath. And now we'll take those windshield wipers reclined. So walk your feet out wide and drop your knees slowly side to side. Feel free to take a cactus here with your arms if you would like. Another couple of deep breaths. Then as you come back into center, find your pillow or bolster or whatever you have to put underneath your legs and let your legs come down to rest. And then either, excuse me, take your cactus or your T with your arms and shake your head no toward the ceiling. Then come back into center with your head and your neck and inch your shoulder blades a little closer together. And now you have your 90-degree angle with your arms, and then draw your elbows in toward each other to touch. And as you draw your elbows in to touch, take a couple big breaths into that space in between your shoulder blades. And now arms open wide to a T. That's comfortable. And then give yourself a hug. Whichever arm you want crosses over the top. Reach fingertips toward your shoulder blades. And again, take a big breath into that space. And then open arms up and switch the cross. And walk fingertips toward your shoulder blades and take a big breath. And then release your arms down, letting them rest, palms facing the ceiling. And as you let your eyes close here, begin to tune into your body in this space. Whatever is present for you, take in the details and start to let yourself rest in Shavasana. And begin to take a deeper breath. And gently start to add movement into fingers and into toes. And now as you start to bend your knees and roll to one side, take a full big breath, allowing yourself to be in this moment. And gently press into the ground and bring yourself all the way back up to your seat. Connect hands together at heart center, and with your eyes closed, take a full breath. Have a very peaceful and beautiful rest of your night. Namaste.